Why did the Canadian bring a ladder to the bar? Because he heard the drinks were on the house. Now that's a tall tale. But hey, we're not here to discuss the drinking habits of our northern neighbors. Instead, we're embarking on an epic journey across the breathtaking landscapes and must-visit spots of Canada. From the towering Rocky Mountains to the vibrant cityscapes, there's plenty to see. So, if you're ready to pack your parka and your sense of humor, join us as we explore the vast beauty of Canada. Ever wonder why Canadians are always so chilled out? It's because they live in igloos. Just kidding, they don't. But they do have some of the most stunning landscapes in the world. Now let's take a journey off the beaten track to the lesser-known but equally breathtaking landscapes of Canada. Imagine a place where pine trees outnumber people, where the lakes are as clear as your Aunt Edna's homemade moonshine, and where the mountains are so tall, they'd give your acrophobic cousin twice the jitters. Let's start with the hidden gem that is Tombstone Territorial Park in Yukon. Now don't let the name scare you. There are no graveyards here, unless you count the ancient fossilized remains of creatures who walked these lands millions of years ago. The park is known for its rugged peaks and vibrant tundra that could put a rainbow to shame. Moving east, we find ourselves in the Torngat Mountains of Newfoundland and Labrador, a place so remote you'd think you'd landed on another planet. But don't worry, the only aliens you'll find here are the occasional caribou passing by. Let's not forget about the Bay of Fundy in New Brunswick, where the tide is so high it could give your overachieving neighbor a run for his money. And when the tide goes out, it leaves behind a playground for mud wrestlers and clam diggers alike. Now how about we head over to the prairies? They may seem flat and boring, but let me tell you, they're anything but. In Saskatchewan, the living skies are like a 24-hour movie, with the northern lights playing the lead role. And the best part is, no need to buy a ticket or popcorn. Last but not least, we have the Great Bear Rainforest in British Columbia, where the trees are so tall they make the Eiffel Tower look like a toothpick. And the bears? Well, they're just the cherry on top of this Canadian sundae. So there you have it, folks, a taste of the Great White North's best-kept secrets, full of beauty, wonder, and the occasional moose. And remember, in Canada, even the moose stop to take in the scenery. Canada is so polite, even its landmarks say sorry for taking your breath away. Now let's take a virtual tour to some of Canada's must-see locations. First stop, Niagara Falls. It's like the world's biggest shower, but without the rubber ducky. This majestic waterfall is so powerful it could fill up every bathtub in North America in just 7 minutes. Now if that's not a party, I don't know what is. Next, we're off to Banff National Park. Now, I don't want to say it's beautiful, but if Mother Nature had an Instagram, this place would be her profile picture. It's got mountains so high, they could high-five the clouds, and lakes so blue, you'd think they're in a permanent state of Monday blues. And let's not forget about Quebec City. This place is older than your grandpa's jokes and just as charming. With its cobblestone streets and French flair, it's like stepping into a fairy tale. Only instead of a wicked witch, you get a friendly Canadian offering you poutine. Ah, and there's Prince Edward Island. It's the smallest province with the biggest heart. This place is so quaint and pretty, it makes a postcard look like a mugshot. And if you're a fan of Anne of Green Gables, you might just find your red-haired soulmate here. Lastly, we've got the Northern Lights in Yukon. It's like a natural disco in the sky. The only difference is, the lights don't flicker because of a faulty switch, but because of science magic. So put on your dancing boots and let the sky be your dance floor. And those, my friends, are just a few of Canada's must-see locations. There's plenty more to explore in this vast land of moose and maple. So, pack your bags, brush up on your A's and sorries, and get ready for an adventure of a lifetime. Just remember, if you get lost, just follow the smell of maple syrup. In Canada, you don't find wildlife, the wildlife finds you, especially if you're holding a plate of poutine. Let's dive into our Canadian Wildlife 101, shall we? You'd think the wilderness of Canada is a version of Narnia, but instead of talking lions, we have polite moose. They might look like a horse designed by a committee, but they're just as Canadian as maple syrup. Now, fancy meeting a beaver? Well, they're the national symbol of Canada, and they're hardworking to boot. They're basically the architects of the animal kingdom, building entire dam communities. Talk about team spirit. And let's not forget about the grizzly bears. They're not as cuddly as they look, trust me. They might seem like they've got a grudge against the world, but they're just hungry. And remember, they're faster than they look, so if you're out in the wild and you see one, don't try to outrun it. Just offer it a Tim Hortons donut and slowly back away. Then there's the loon, the bird on the Canadian dollar coin. They've got a haunting call that's a mix of a wolf howl and a yodel. It's the soundtrack of the Canadian wilderness, echoing across the lakes and forests. So, if you see a bear, don't worry, they're just looking for a hockey partner. As we wrap up our journey through the Great White North, remember that in Canada, every day is a snow day. We've traipsed through the majestic Rockies, getting lost in their towering peaks and crystal-clear lakes. We've wandered through the enchanting forests of Quebec, where the leaves change color faster than a chameleon in a paint factory. We've strolled through the vibrant streets of Montreal, where the poutine flows like water and the hockey sticks are always at the ready. Our journey also took us on a roller coaster ride of wildlife encounters, from the charmingly cheeky beavers to the majestic moose, reminding us that when in Canada, you're never really alone. We've laughed, we've gasped, and we've probably gotten frostbite, but hey, that's all part of the Canadian charm, right? So there you have it, folks. A quick and humorous guide to exploring Canada. And remember, if you can't find your way back, just head south. Eventually you'll hit the US. Before we say our final goodbyes to the Great White North, we have a little request. If you've enjoyed this wintry ride, if you've laughed at our jokes, gasped at the wildlife, or even just found our frostbite tales mildly amusing, we'd love for you to be part of our adventure-loving family. How? Just hit that like button below and subscribe to our channel. Your likes and subscriptions keep us motivated and let us know that you appreciate our hard work. So don't be shy. Smash that like button, click on subscribe, and join us on our next journey. Who knows where we'll take you next? And remember, every click brings us one step closer to our next adventure. So thank you for your support and see you on the next trip.